Yes, sir. We are in another episode of Entrepreneurs and Fuego. We're documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs like Mr. Frank Gittens. Advance your business. Advance your institution.
Yes, that's right. But we're in business.
But we're in business, and you advance your business. You advance your institution is the name of your company. Tell us a little bit more in detail, Frank, what you're doing with Advance Your Institution.
Well, with Advance Your Institution, what we're doing, Francisco, is we're trying to take the small to mid-sized business and provide solutions as it relates around finance and technology.
All right.
My background is in investment banking, primarily corporate finance and venture capital. My business partner lives in Florida, and his technology has a technology background. Our real purpose is to provide something, contribute something positive to the business, educational, and health ecosystem on a regular basis.
So when you say that you help small, medium-sized businesses, are you only providing advice on venture capital, or are you providing a different type of advice?
Great question. We provide advice on technology solutions, expense reduction, financing, whether it be raising capital, managing that capital, how to, even corporate strategy, whether it be branding, marketing, et cetera.
So you're providing all these services for, how long have you been doing this, Frank?
Since 2009.
But before then, you were in corporate America?
I was in corporate America. I was, it's been a myriad of opportunities. 4 years in corporate finance, 8 years in venture capital, 12 years in education finance.
Okay.
It's always been something where we've been able to contribute something positive.
All right, so in 2009 you made this jump into being your own man.
Yes.
And just walk me through that process. I mean, what made Frank Gittens say, all right, you know what, I am just tired of this, or I want to try this. What was it that motivated you to just make that jump?
I'd always been in incentive-based kind of opportunities. However, after 9/11, it kind of shifted things a little bit. I came out here, I was in education finance, and then the College Cost Reduction Act of 2006, which basically eliminated the student lending business, created opportunities for ourselves. We called it Advance Your Institution because initially our focus was to work with the institutional advancement offices within the college and university dynamic, and to help them raise capital, et cetera, and manage, do things like to manage public policy, et cetera. But then we saw opportunities where we had a lot of the career schools and the other college and universities that needed to help their students meet that gap need between what it costs to go to university and what the financial aid package provided. So we saw opportunities there to help the institution help the students. And
then you said at that point, maybe I can do this on my own.
Right, and we figured out how to put that together, and then we kind of expanded it into other realms, whether it be healthcare and other, any of the businesses that we see that come before us, and kind of ask for our help.
So, Frank, this is about your journey. This is about that experience, that feeling that you got when you jumped from corporate America into being yourself. And so, was that jump scary? Was that jump something that it was perfunctory? You said, yeah, I can do this on my own, no problem.
Well, it's a little scary, right? But I think ultimately my experience had lent the opportunity. Anytime I'd run a region, et cetera, for a business, for a company, I'd run it like it was my own business anyway.
Okay.
So at Bank of America, where I might show 130% increase year over year in revenues, I also would only spend 29% of my budget on average. So
those are amazing figures.
And so I
did they cry when you left?
No, actually, what's interesting is my current business partner was my VP at the time. Oh, man. And he would tell me that I had to either spend more money or they want to take the budget away from me, which I thought was interesting.
That is amazing. All right, so your life as an entrepreneur. People that are watching this, they might be going, you know what, I want to be like a Frank Gittens. What advice would you give somebody that is starting their own business and wanted to get into something like where you are?
Well, for me, I think that there's a great book, and it's called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, like the baby food Gerber. And it talks about how to play your position, how to identify what your position is, where you're good at, what you're not good at. I think we kind of get it, we get things twisted a little bit when we talk about what are we good at. When someone cooks well, first thing we say is perhaps they should have their own business. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. If singing well was the only prerequisite to success in the music business, churches would be full of record executives.
Oh my goodness,
right?
Sure.
But it's not the only dynamic that's important. It might be actually on the relative value scale, might be second or third on the relative value scale. Ultimately, you have to have a desire to really understand who you are and what you're doing. Position good people to work with you. My VP at B of A was the best manager day to day I'd ever had. So when I started the company, I asked him, would you be willing to be the president of the company? You check your ego at the door, right? You want to get it done. I'd rather get it right than to be right, right? And so ultimately, I always want to surround myself with good people. I never want to be the smartest guy in the room.
You realized in that moment that your talent as a good cook, you're the great cook, but you're not the one that should run that restaurant.
Absolutely.
And you had the guy that, hey, this is a great manager to run my restaurant, and that's exactly what you realized. So you checked your ego at the door, and you said, all right, let's jump, let's do this.
And I trust, and
That's
again, when you
amazing.
work with people who know what they're doing, right? Then I trust when I'm making that choice, do what you do.
Was that choice at that time something that gave you a little pause? Because you, in your deep inside, you know you're making the right decision. But you, of course, you don't know that was the right decision until historically you can look back, oh yeah, that was a good decision. So you had to go with your gut, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Going with the gut is really, I mean, at the end of the day, I trust my judgment, right? And ultimately, if it doesn't work well, you can always make a change, right? And I think that, but I'm prepared to take that chance. But if you get to know people and you identify that they may have skill sets that really are ones that can be of benefit, and you mesh together, that's a great thing. You know, everyone can't play drums, right?
Right.
Right.
In advising the small and medium-sized companies, what is the most common mistake that you see business making that you can advise to get fixed?
Absolutely. Lack of a plan. No plan.
So you're just living day to day?
No one would really interview for a job without a resume, right? Your resume is a living, breathing document, as is your business plan. It's probably the most difficult feature to really put together. And so you see a lot of people will go out looking for financing, will go out and try to tell their story, but they have no plan. And I think that's the biggest thing. The most common error, really, misstep is a lack of a plan.
Why, if it is the biggest, or one of the biggest errors or mistakes, why isn't that we take the time to just sit down and do a business plan?
It's difficult.
Or just a plan.
It's difficult. It requires that you sit down and reflect, right? You're the subject matter expert. Generally, if you're looking to start a business, generally the subject matter expert in that realm, or you want to be. And so you have to be able to take the time to be able to research and figure out what's going to make this business successful, because you have to be able to kind of, present that to prospective investors, right? Prospective employees,
sure.
Prospective vendors, right? You want to be able to articulate that vision.
I hear it all the time. A lot of new entrepreneurs spending all this time, all this effort, and this is what the website is going to look like, and this is what it looks like, and then you just spend all this time and effort just working on how visually the website is going to look like. All right, it's ready, and everybody's so excited. Oh, it's live, and I can just hear and see tumbleweeds just going right by. So now what?
That's right.
That's just part of the larger plan, right?
Right. That should literally only be something that is the shell, like that front door. Everything else behind the door should be beautiful, right? It should all be taken care of.
Right.
When you walk through here, the door, it's beautiful, right? And if you walk in and it's not presentable, right?
Right.
As curb appeal has got everything, the office pile has curb appeal, has everything. And you walk in and you become disillusioned because you walk in and it doesn't match what the curb appeal said to you,
Right.
then that's not a good experience, right? For the vendor, for
Correct.
the prospective employee, or for your prospective investors.
For the record, it does look nice inside.
It is amazing design. Absolutely, this is beautiful. And the pictures do it no justice, by the way.
Oh man, thank you.
Absolutely, I'm telling you.
Thank you. All right, so we're as an entrepreneur now. You've achieved tremendous success. So where do you see now in your own plan? What do you see now within the next 3-5 years?
Right. Well, we're going to move into real estate, right? We're going to move into real estate. There are a lot of projects that we're partnering with a number of different entities. And we're going to start providing, ultimately we move from education, now we looked at healthcare, we look at different corporates, and now we're going to move into real estate. And I think that partnering with some folks in Los Angeles to bring projects here. So I'm in the process of getting my real estate license.
Nice. So you do this nationwide, of course.
Right, absolutely. Anyway, internationally, otherwise.
How do people find out about you? I mean, marketing-wise. I know you can give your phone number and everything else, but no, as a company, is it just word of mouth, or do you have to market yourself?
Mostly word of mouth. It has been amazing. And I was asked 6 months ago, what am I better at than anyone else? And I'd never been asked that question before. And my blanket answer was, nobody works harder than I do. But I was curious, so I went out and asked I text 10 folks who I'd either worked with or done business with, et cetera. What do you think I'm better at than anyone else? And the two answers that came back were that I develop business better than anyone they've ever seen, and that I network better than anyone they've ever seen. I think that's really the key. Again, I'm not the smartest guy ever in the room, ever.
The key to networking or successful networking, what is it?
Just understanding who you are. Like, I know what I know and I know what I don't know. I don't know is if it weren't such a negative affirmation, it could be my mantra. I don't know, right?
And it's okay to say, I don't know.
It's absolutely okay. I know what I know and I know what I don't know.
And what I find as a common mistake of a lot of people is that because you don't want to look like you don't know something, then you start spewing things that make absolutely no sense and makes you look like a fool. So it's okay to say, hey, look, I don't know. Maybe I'll go and find the answer for you, but I don't know. And it's okay to
absolutely
to know what you don't know.
Absolutely. I think that's the one key element is that, again, when you do really tend to surround yourself or really want to gravitate to people who are really smart and really good at what they do, you will understand that fudging won't work.
Be honest. And that's it. Be honest with your knowledge.
Absolutely.
Man, what a pleasure. Well, I mean, what a great lesson that I get today.
I appreciate you, Francisco.
Yeah, because those are honest. Look, we get a lot of entrepreneurs that come here to the program. I mean, they're just amazing entrepreneurs. You're bringing in that knowledge and that education that I can only go out there and probably buy in a book. But now you've enriched us all because now you're giving us all that experience right here that we can come back and look at it again and listen to it again and listen to it again. Okay, what is that he said about this not knowing thing, or what is where?
It's an amazing landscape we have here, nationally and even internationally. I have folks whom I can pick their brains about whatever I need to pick their brains about. And I will pick up the phone and call anyone, even if I've never met them. All they can do is not answer my call. But I've met people that way mostly.
That's cool. That's awesome. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone.
I'm not scared, yeah.
What are they going to say?
Nothing bad can happen.
Frank, you're amazing. Best advice you got?
My mother gave me advice that if you work hard, when I first started to look at investment banking, she said, if you work hard, when everyone else was telling me you'll never make it at that, get a real job. She said, if you work hard, Frank, you'll do fine.
Awesome. And with that, we're out.